Okay. So that was almost disastrous. But anyway, I think structure as someone with ADHD, structure is something I've always craved. I've always wanted to be good at following it, and just I have ADHD, I have executive function issues, I have all of the quirks and lovely, annoying, disruptive bits about having ADHD. So, a lot of my success has been in just strategizing. And you guys see it on our one-on-one calls. It's what you do with us, with the coaches, with me, is we try to figure out what makes it doable for all of you. So we should be able to know how to do that in a more structured way if that's how we are. Hold on 1 second. Take off low battery mode. Like, stop turning off on me. I have notes for this. But if we are more structured, it could feel kind of like going nowhere fast if we don't have that structure. But if we're afraid of it, we might have analysis paralysis. So whatever your case may be, I have the chat open, by the way. So if there's anything that you want me to clarify further, definitely ask in there. But I'm going to go through the format of what I see us implementing. And you guys will see us. We're going to put up the blank template to go along with this. You'll be able to make your own menus, be able to create your own shopping lists, because that is the goal. You should be able to have structure, but it should be adaptable. It should be based on what we like, what our schedule is like, all of the things that we tell you guys in our calls, but there should be more of a way to make it more concrete. Okay. So I'm going to run this through, and then I'm going to introduce our brain camp, which is kicking off in July. And you guys have heard me talk about this forever. So we'll get to that at the end. All right. So I got through this intro already. Okay, this is fun. So what we do is we start by asking, all right, let's say you could, like, your dream meal. Time wasn't an issue. Food, like the food itself, wasn't an issue. What would your dream breakfast be? Tell me in the chat. What would your dream breakfast be if you were able to have all the time in the world, all the desire to prepare that you could muster, and life was but a dream? What kind of breakfast would you have? Dinner food, be specific, Mo. What kind of dinner food? French toast, eggs, bacon, hash browns, ramen. I'm so hungry right now. I'm cooking ribs in the background, by the way. It's not impressive. It's the easiest thing in the world. You season it and put it in the oven for 3 hours. But it smells so good. And then having this conversation, maybe I will be able to stomach something more than fruit today. I am excited. When I have times, breakfast tacos. I've never had a breakfast taco before. I think the closest I've had is what are they called? Chilaquiles in Mexico. Probably said that like ultimate gringo, but it was like breakfast nachos. And those were awesome. So eggs Benny with some French toast, steak. Love it. Breakfast sandwiches. I don't know. Is pork roll / Taylor ham a New Jersey thing? I don't know that. And what is it by you if it's not? Because North Jersey and South Jersey have a very heated debate. It's the same damn thing, but one calls it Taylor ham because it's the brand, and the other one calls it pork roll because that's what it actually is. But I grew up calling it Taylor ham. Waffles, scrambled eggs. I don't know why I literally hate breakfast food. Totally a New Jersey thing, huh? A Jersey that, wow. I've never heard of that. Never been to Jersey, but I know about it. Pork roll. Oh my God. One time, it's funny. I moved down to South Jersey and I was used to ordering Taylor ham. And I ordered an order of pork roll, and I wrote in the like special instructions. I'm like, can you please make the Taylor ham extra crispy? Tell me how I got the thickest, soggiest, wettest, grossest pieces of pork roll ever. And the next time I wrote pork roll, crispy as anything, pieces of charcoal, just like I like it. Yeah. So anyway, what the fuck is a pork roll? It's like Canadian bacon, but not. It's like if someone took corned beef hash and made it into a solid like sausage and then cut a very, very thin slice and threw it on a grill. It's really good, especially good if you have low appetite because you don't need much. It packs a punch, you know? So, all right, let's see. So we got all these dream things, right? So now the way we do is we reverse engineer it. It took me so long to just accept my brain and the fact that I don't absorb information forward really easily. I can crack the hell out of a lot of things. I can problem solve like hell. Like it is just the way my brain works. I have to figure it out backwards. So I started doing that with the way I started thinking about how I implemented my own baby steps one at a time. And what you want to do is you want to reverse engineer. So if this is what you would love to eat, then you want to think about what about that thing breaks the baby steps. Like what about that thing isn't hormone friendly? So, and I mean, hey, pork roll is hormone friendly. So I don't think it's anything friendly in huge quantities because it's not super healthy, but it's delicious and it's not going to screw up hormones. So, but let's see, what would some things you guys said? Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through. So if you have specific ones to ask, put them in the chat because I want to show you how I look to tweak the thing that I want for the thing that isn't going to screw up my hormones. Because there's a process to it that isn't always the easiest to describe. So this is perfect if you're on live. So looking at this, okay, we have pancakes and eggs Benny. All right, so if we're looking at, let's say, eggs Benedict. So like the second part of this, I'll explain in a minute. But in terms of flavor and what it is itself, you want to look at what component is not hormone friendly. So for your baby steps, because we're all at different points. So let's say somebody is doing like lower carb, you know, they're on an insulin resistance protocol or something like that. So, and they're having a lot of bread throughout the day, like sandwiches, because they're on the go. These are all realistic things. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a friggin' sandwich. You're taking a meal with you to work, you know, but when it comes to it affecting our hormones, we can tweak. So then you would look at eggs Benedict and would probably be the roll would be the only thing that would be hormone unfriendly. So you would look to find a different roll alternative and that would satisfy that. Then pancakes, there's low carb pancake batter. If that was your baby step, you know, I haven't tried the ones like the microwavable, like in a cup ones. I feel like it's not a pancake if it ain't flat on a plate, you know, honestly. I have a recipe. I'm trying to remember it by like off the top of my head. And I don't know why, but remind me, anybody who wants the gluten-free pancake recipe, just shoot me a message. I'll send it over. Yeah, I'll comment it. I'll comment it on this video. Much easier. French toast, super easy. Carbonate, gluten-free low carb toast, dunked in eggs, and then put on a griddle. Eggs are eggs, great. Bacon, great. Hash browns. I don't know. It's not the same. So here's the thing. That's the thing that sucks, you know, right? It's not exactly the same, but there's trying to follow my notes and not get too excited and rambly. But you want to look for replacements that make it a little bit more hormone friendly. So let's say carbs were the thing we were avoiding. I don't like making cauliflower something it's not, okay? But there are these really, 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 really good cauliflower hash browns. I completely forget the brand, but I just got them online from Whole Foods. If you just like go on Amazon and search the Whole Foods department, those I made them like in the microwave. I like soggy potatoes. I don't know. So it like kind of reminded me of that. I loved them. I thought the flavor was great. You could probably air fry them really crispy, but either way, look for different options. I know that exists because I saw it. It was interesting. I bought it to try it because I knew it would become something I could put in rotation. So whenever you are like, don't be so upset if you're not like jumping right into eating baby step friendly. Any of you who are new, take data from what you're eating. If you see like, I really like hash browns in the morning, go look up one that meets your baby steps, you know, or text us and we can walk you through it. Ramen, forever difficult because nothing's exactly like ramen. It's so good. Same thing with potatoes though, right? So I really like shirataki noodles for that. That's kind of a love it or hate it kind of thing. I find I You would think I wouldn't like them, right? Like I have texture issues. I really do. And I love boba. I love ramen, like shirataki noodles. I love like the chewy glass noodles. So I don't know, maybe give them a shot. You might love them. Palmini noodles are great. LC noodles are really good in soups because they hold up, they don't overcook, like they don't get mushy and disgusting and fall apart with a lot of gluten. And same thing with shirataki. The two of them, you can't really overcook them in broth or anything. So they'll be able to be warmed up and like, I love them. Breakfast tacos, I would say probably just a taco shell. So you could swap it out for siete hard taco. They're made from cassava. Steak is great. Eggs Benny with French toast, same thing. Breakfast sandwiches, same thing. It would just be the bread, most likely. Blueberry waffles and or breakfast burrito type things. Yeah, blueberry waffles, you can do the chaffle mix for that. Throw some blueberries up in that bad boy. You can also get, I think Choco Zero makes blueberry syrup as well. If not, they definitely make strawberry syrup. I was always the kid that like mixed all the IHOP syrups, and like strawberry was my favorite. So I won't judge. If you're a heathen, you get strawberry syrup for your pancakes. I am too. So also love breakfast burritos. Yeah. So the flexibility of a shell, they make them store bought and they're great, but they tend to be higher carb. So if you were somebody who was looking for a lower carb option, the egg tortillas are really good. Those, like, I don't know why this signifies an egg tortilla, but it's, my heritage coming out. So they're really flexible and light and fluffy. So especially for a breakfast burrito type of situation, if you load it up with some slices of cheese, pack it up, microwave it all together, it'll probably be delicious. Some scrambled eggs in there, maybe some beans. I am so hungry right now. So waffles, scrambled eggs, same thing. Chaffles are great for that. That's in the classroom in the food replacements album. We have a recipe. I really want pork roll now, or Taylor ham, whatever. Ash, you can't do the sugar-free syrups. Oh no. I think my ribs just exploded in the oven. I think that's what I just heard and watched. It's not messy, so I'm not going to go check on it. But anyway, pray for me. The sugar-free syrups, I like the Chalk Zero ones because I can't have like the Enlightened or like the Hershey's sugar-free version. Honestly, it upsets the shit out of my stomach, pun intended. But the Chalk Zeros I do really well with. Those are like the thicker syrups. The Toranis, sometimes people can be sensitive to those types, but I would be heartbroken for you if you can't do chalk. Carbonate bread is great. Just so you guys know, all of their gluten-free breads, make sure you look and check. That sucks when you buy a loaf of bread and you're like, this is the best, and you realize that it still has gluten even though it's low carb. But they have separate brand lines, like regular and then the gluten-free. The gluten-free has to it is nut-free, it is egg-free, it is dairy-free, soy-free. It's ridiculous. So that's a really good option for, of course, sandwich bread, but also French toast. Super easy. Dunk it in egg, put on the griddle. Yeah, it's really, really good. Stuffing. You can make stuffing with it, like quick stovetop stuffing for yourself if you're in the mood for a little holiday, whatever. You can, I read online the other day actually that you can even leave it out on your counter. It's shelf stable completely for 10 days. So anything you're going to eat in 10 days, whatever you want. Sad because I have to order carbonate bread. I really need to try. Yeah, I can't find it anywhere around us. Like the Whole Foods, and the nearest Whole Foods is like 20 minutes away. So I get that shit Amazon. I cannot do shirataki noodles. Oh, I love them so much. There is a science to making them though. I basically like fry them in soy sauce before I even use them for anything, even tomato sauce. Like I will first saute them in soy sauce because it makes them like, I don't know, it gives them something. They're not so bland. And then they still take on the flavor because it kind of attaches to the soy sauce that's on the outside of it. Chickpea pasta, if I'm not caring about carbs that day. I wish I liked chickpea pasta. I'm the worst. But if you can, now it's starting to pop up a lot more online. It's a certain brand that is not in stores all that much. I'm going to spell what I think it's spelled. Farabella. It might be Farobella. Please hold. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Okay, yeah, got the correct spelling. This is the best gluten-free pasta I've ever had in my life. The best texture. It cooks like regular pasta. The pasta water acts the same. It is so good. It is like, and they make so many different like cuts and textures and stuff like that. So let me see here. What else I got for you guys? Okay, so now you're going to be looking to replace Farabella. Why did this send to waiting room participants? Weird. I am not into all of this. Technology forsakes me. It's called Farabella, everybody. Farabella. Farabella. I cannot send messages out of waiting room participants right now for some reason. I don't know. So Farabella. Farabella. Thanks, Gab. Yep, perfect. They make so many, like shells, elbows, different types of noodles, like so many, the little radiator looking ones, ziti, penne, rigatoni, pastina, amazing. And it is like the most authentic texture for gluten-free pasta ever. It's imported from Italy. It's like, they take that shit serious, you know, and it's the best is, if you have a corn sensitivity, don't get Farabella though. They use corn instead of rice. Now, before anyone gets on me for that, or if you have insulin resistance, rice is going to wreak havoc on your system. So I prefer corn, even though I do find that irritates my stomach after a while. So I've learned my balance. Some of you guys might not have that kind of irritation. Some of you might find you can have a couple, have some before it's too much, but it's definitely worth a couple of bites, honestly, no matter what. It's so good. So unless you're like really allergic, don't, no matter what, that doesn't count. All right. But, so how we do this. So we're figuring out what we would ideally love, right? But our schedules aren't always conducive to that. So if you're out working all day and like, okay, we want to ask this question for every single meal, every single snack, what's your dream meal, your dream snack, and then try to reverse it and see what you would change about it to make it baby step friendly. Then you want to ask yourself, okay, what am I doing at that time? Like what does my schedule allow for? Can I get up and go cook? Am I at an office where I can't go cook? Like what is the reality? And then you reverse engineer that. So what I was telling one of my clients yesterday, we were working on it, was to create her lunch that she loved was a Philly cheesesteak. I love it too. So Steakums from the freezer section, if you don't have like shaved steak or anything like that, Steakums are great. So I was saying when you're cooking dinner the night before, because you're already standing up, you're already in the kitchen, you're already cooking, then what you do before you sit down for dinner is I want you to just throw some Steakums and some cheese in a pan, cook them up together, and then put them in a Tupperware for tomorrow for lunch. Because you're already cooking. It's all about attaching. You've heard me say this in a couple of Zooms by now. It's all about attaching routines to routines. So if you're already cooking dinner, cooking the heated component of lunch for the next day at that same time, then, and you can kind of like Italian beef. Yeah. I think we've had this conversation before. I've never had or heard of until having clients from Chicago, Italian beef. But yeah, you can add as much as you want. You could do some mushrooms, you can do peppers, you can do onions, whatever you're in the mood to do the night before. You're going to be cooking. So chances are you'll probably do it up a little extra if you're already into it. And you just toss it in Tupperware for the next day. And, I know you might be like, oh, leftovers, but if you're just making the base and you're going to then compose it the next day. Like, so in the morning, you pick your bread, you know, she would pick out the different things. You know, I told her, this is a different client. I said, chickpea salad is great to bring. You know, so if you do like you make a big ass bowl of chickpea salad on Sunday night with dinner for that night, you know, even if you're unpacking your DoorDash, usually you'll be in the kitchen, right? So just throw this together so you have it to bring with you. So you can reverse engineer that way. Now, I had another client who had a bunch of food allergies, sorry. And I don't know why that was a trap, but she had a lot of allergies. And so the normal breakfast foods were kind of off the table. So she really liked cinnamon buns and bacon. That would be her dream breakfast. And honestly, same. So besides the fact that we have the yeasted bread, which makes fabulous cinnamon rolls, and that recipe is in the classroom as well, you can also just take a twist on that, right? So I knew that a while ago I had made these like pumpkin muffins that were really easy and really great. And I just went and searched, you know, we're not keto, but I look for keto because look, it gets rid of the majority of the shit that we need to look at, right? Usually gluten-free, usually sugar-free, usually low carb. All right, you know? So I looked up egg-free, dairy-free, keto pumpkin muffin. And what I got was the loaf of bread recipe that I remembered from back in the day. It was like a pumpkin bread. And I said, why don't you just put this in cupcakes? So if it takes a few minutes to throw together, you know, then you just put it into cupcakes and pop it in the oven while you're eating dinner or while you're, you know, I don't know, making breakfast on the weekend or something like that. Then during, you know, pro tip, whenever you have muffins you're making, stuff them with something so they don't get dry. You got to get a skinny tip for a piping bag. And then you just put whatever icing or sugar-free jam or whatever you want, put it in that piping bag and just stick it in the middle, stuff it. It keeps it from getting dry and crumbly and gross. But so I told her to do a vegan cream cheese icing kind of thing where not even, it's just cinnamon and vegan cream cheese whipped together, stuffed into these muffins for breakfast. She just, and you know, each week we're going to change it up a bit. But I asked her, I'm like, do you mind eating relatively the same stuff for a week at a time? And usually everyone's response is the same. Yeah, every meal except dinner. I'm cool with that. You know, so then you work with that. You structure that into your menu. So for her, she had her muffins in the morning. Then there was the steakums prepared for the next day. You know, then for dinner, it was, I don't even remember what I told her, but I'll just run this down with you guys. So I asked the same question, you know, what is your dream meal? What is going on at that time? And then at night is usually the trickiest part because you're accounting for other people, right? Or you're accounting for being in between plans, or maybe you want to go out. There's a lot more variables. My husband's home. I hope Nick coming in doesn't make the dogs go crazy. I will mute it if they start freaking out. Okay. But, you know, being able to account for the fact that you want to go out to eat, or that you might be eating really late one night or the other. You want to try and think about that in the beginning of the week, even if you're not going to make any plans for that, even if that doesn't come to fruition. It should be some kind of a variable that you account for when you're having this kind of like session with yourself planning, whenever the hell that might be. Gabby, you said lunch is so hard for you. Is it hard figuring out what to make, what to have, what's appropriate to have if you're not feeling very hungry? Because if there's no real motive for us to eat at that time, like no chemical appetite, it becomes really overwhelming, you know? And I think a lot of times lunch is easy for people to do over and over and over again because of that, because it's like, I don't know what the hell I want to eat. But if you're looking forward to lunch during the day, I have also some cultures like lunch is like the meal where it's at, you know, I've had clients like that. Then you would just want to do the same thing. Ask yourself what your dream lunch would be. Think of like 2, you know, and then you can just have a bunch of those base ingredients made ahead of time. So Mo, I read your message loud and clear. I will avoid saying it as much as possible because I get that way with misophonia. Like I don't mean to be laughing, but I'm like, it makes me remember misophonia when I have to explain to people that their breathing is bothering me, and I don't want to be a dick, but I mean it, you know? So I will avoid the word as much as possible. So then, okay. Forgot what I was going to say. Sorry. Inventorying it. Okay. So once you have this all plotted out and you have everything all like, okay, this would be my dream way, my dream meals, these would be my dream snacks. And it's just 1 week. You can readjust this the next week when you sit to create your new plan for the following week. It could be the same thing. You could take, I saw you guys were saying about the hyper fixating on certain foods. Same. So, Dunkin' Donuts egg bites might be my breakfast every day for that week. Okay, whatever works, So when you write this all out, you want to look at it and just don't think about what you have in the fridge. Don't think about what's expensive, what you got to buy, right? You want to do this in stages of collecting the data, figuring out what we want, and then hacking it to fit. So you first just write a whole list of all of the food ingredients that this week's worth of eating would require. Then when that is all compiled, you just go check out what you have in the fridge or the freezer. You see what you could swap out because maybe you're okay with doing ground beef instead of ground turkey, that one night that you had planned because you have ground beef instead of ground turkey. You can adjust it. It doesn't have to be like a diehard, but it gives you this overall outline to then pick and choose with what you're eating, or to then say, oh, I think we'll go out that night or whatever. And it doesn't leave you at the mercy of the way the night unfolds, especially if you're struggling with dinner in particular. During the day is just usually a little easier once you figure out what it is that you want to have access to it or have it made. But dinner can get real screwy real quick, especially some of you guys, if you live in areas where things close down early, and that has happened to us. We moved down here, we didn't expect it because we're used to North Jersey where everything's open and it's like 10 minutes away maximum. But that was honestly a problem. Like when we were renovating and it'd be 10 p.m. and Wawa or Quick Check is the only thing that's open. It's like, where did we move? So have my biggest suggestion. I know this is going to sound really bougie, but if you are able to squeeze water out of a rock for the $10 that it costs for delivery for your groceries, for God's sake, do yourself a favor. You probably spend $10 on dumber shit, but get your groceries delivered if you can. I mean, if you have a big aversion to it, I'm not like you must, but personally, I can't recommend it enough. It's like, I feel like I get my groceries done a lot easier that way because we'll buy fun stuff or things that are extra or things that seem like they'd be good when we go to the store. When I know what the hell I'm buying online, I'm looking for the best price. I'm looking for, the best, the quantity I'm picking. I'm not having outside distractions making me potentially forget something. It's really a sensory overload, honestly, for me going to the grocery store. And Nick and I are really busy and we don't feel like spending what time we are not working on the house, fighting people in a grocery store. So, and not for nothing, but you find a lot of price breaks that way. Like ShopRite from home. Do you have a ShopRite near you? They usually have special coupons and stuff like that. It's usually just, I find something that seems really daunting, so people don't do it. But then once they do, they're like, why have I not just done this for my entire life? So it has to be something that can be routinable, right? And if me going to the grocery store, me figuring out when I'm going to fit that into everything, because my weeks are different from week to week. If you can realistically say to yourself, look, I've been wanting to be a good grocery shopper forever now. It ain't happening. The ship has sailed. It is worth the $10 to schedule a grocery drop off. It's wonderful. If, that works for you. And I know everyone's circumstances are different, but if you feel guilty about the $10 is what I'm saying. I wouldn't be. So, what are the websites you use? So I love Instacart. They have a lot of coupons they give you. So they'll give you like free delivery windows and stuff. It's on Amazon, Whole Foods. If you have one near you, delivers. You can just do it right through Prime and you get really good discounts. It's actually, I find a lot of really good deals ordering through Whole Foods through Amazon. I love Netrition, as you guys know. That's more for packaged goods and stuff. But you can also get ingredients like the noodles we were discussing, the breads. Love nutrition forever. And now it looks great. So I just redid the whole thing. So I like what I'm reading, what you guys are saying as you're saying this. Even Walmart pickup makes a big difference for me. Absolutely. I didn't even know Walmart did pickup. I'm so out of it. I stay on my same 3 things I always do when I don't veer, but I can pick up on my way home from work. Yeah, absolutely. Not for nothing, but if you funds allow for it, Factor meals, and if you like them, some people are just not into this, but there was a time where we did Factor meals for every single dinner pretty much. And they're pre-made, like you literally, they're fresh. They cook it every single week. Like if they screw up your order, we contacted them once. We were like, you left off this one thing. Like, what the hell? Can you just send us out another one? They're like, no, we're done cooking for the time. Like it is very fresh. Like it's not some mass produced frozen like from 6 months ago kind of thing. It's like they cooked it a couple days ago and it's at your doorstep now and it's frozen and you're going to keep it, you know? So I love it. Customer service is great. They sent us like a free week after that, which is crazy. The meals change all the time. So you develop like favorites of yours. You can skip weeks. I think it works out to be like $10 to $12 per meal, depending on how much of them you're buying. And we just loved, especially when we were packing the house to move it. Because everything had to kind of stay pristine all the time because we had showings and stuff. We loved it because we just had to pop in the thing from the fridge for 3 minutes. And it wasn't like the portions were weird to me at first. And then I don't know if I got used to it or they got bigger seeming, but the portions I thought were great. And the veggie sides, you guys see I like veggies, but even if I didn't like vegetable sides, they make the best vegetable sides I've ever tried. Like their cauli mash, their cauli grits, the green beans they made, like, oh my God. And they're so good. And I'm not one to be like, oh my God, cauliflower, even though I like vegetables. So if it's affordable, I think it could definitely be done, you know, without needing a meal service, of course, but you know, so I love it. Just the luxury of having it done for you, you know? What else? Ways to figure out the hormone friendly version as we're talking about it too is Google your baby step, like Google whatever it is, carb, sugar, gluten, whatever. And then the thing that you're wanting. So it would be like low carb biscuits. I don't know, you know, and then you would just look, just save recipes that seem alluring. I call it window shopping. I do it with nutrition. I'll go save stuff to my wish list randomly if it's not time to order yet, but I'm just like, I have free time. I always try to learn new, really good tasting things that won't make me sick because that is exciting. That is fun. This is not meant to be something that's like, but I can't have bagels anymore. It's like, but I can have as many hormone friendly bagels as I want, you know, because it's not gonna make me feel like shit, you know? And I think it's fun. I also like cooking. So I understand if you guys don't, but Evie is the coach to contact for that. She's like, I can't stand cooking. I would never do it again if I could. I would be so sad. Scratching the itch for flavors and textures. So, like I said, that client wanted cinnamon buns in the morning, right? And instead we went for pumpkin muffins stuffed with cream cheese and cinnamon. It's not the same, but for a breakfast, you know, I think everybody pretty much understands they can't always have cinnamon buns every day. If you made the yeasted bread, you could, but even that's a little time consuming. You know, so in a pinch, being able to throw this like one bowl muffin together and have it ready to go in the morning, you know, then that is still, it's something a little bit more special, similarly to a cinnamon roll than having a cinnamon roll every day, you know? So scratching the itch for flavors and textures, something that's going to be, you know, indulgent in its own right. Whatever, and think of what would make anything better. Cream cheese frosting for one. Yeah, I mean, if you can add some cinnamon to something, some cream cheese frosting, some melted chocolate, like Lily's chocolate, anything, you know, think of things that make things better by default. Sesame oil, red pepper flakes, avocado, you know, whatever it is that you can have that you enjoy that adds flavor or excitement to something, and it is within your baby steps, get it in, throw it in there, you know? And then last bit, just word to the wise. Okay. This is just like a little, if we were to sum everything up. Now, granted, follow your baby steps first and foremost, but if you think about it, if the vessel, like the bread or the noodles or the thing that's carrying the flavor that typically has gluten and carbs and sugar or whatever, if the vessel itself is lower carb and gluten free, and the rest of the components are sugar free, then you could have as much of that as you want. So if you replace those components, your hormones are not going to be triggered abruptly. Now, it might not be the best absolute thing for you. Again, baby steps are all different for each of us. But just as a rule of thumb, if you're trying to replace something, because you know that the original vessel, let's say, is very much a big trigger for you, then if you're trying to think of like, well, what the hell could I do? Okay, well, think of something that is like lower carb and gluten-free to have the whole thing on, a chaffle, piece of cucumber, you know, whatever. Like you find a different option for that. And then the components on it, maybe you find a sugar-free version if it's sweet, or you find a gluten-free version if it's savory, and then have at it. But if you want to break food down and think about it in terms of those compartments, then you're going to find there's a lot of things that just are that way already that are pretty enjoyable to eat. Decide what you'd want for your meals, your snacks that week. That would be a good alternative. Look at your schedule to figure out how you would have to kind of manage when you would get not the whole thing prepared, but like at least help yourself out for the next day. And then try that out for a week. Note the findings. If it doesn't work out, if you hate taking it to work with you, if it gives you a stomach ache, everything that doesn't work the way we'd hoped is data. So don't feel like, oh, this week wasn't flawless. This is something new to learn, but at least this gives you a way to practice creating what you need for you, thinking about it in a fun way, thinking about it in a way to get everything written on paper. So you have something in front of you. It's not just like floating around your house, hoping to find something in your kitchen. How many times we open up the door, how many our utility bills from opening up the damn kitchen, the refrigerator door, food's getting warm, keep that door closed. So, all right, brain camp. So brain camp is going to be starting July 1st and it's going to run until the 31st. And so it's going to be 5 Zooms. Now, this is going to be the regular weekly Zoom. We learned from the Come Alive challenge, it's a taboo word around here, but we learned from the Come Alive challenge that we did. It was a 2-monther. We kind of did that. We learned a lot about it. So those of you who are in that challenge, you'll see the parallels that we kind of took from it for this. So we're doing 1 month, not 2. 2 months, it's understandable. Everybody loses momentum. You guys have noticed when everything you've done in the past, you give it like a month before it starts to lose steam. And if you really hate it, that's when it goes out the window if it hasn't given you crazy life-altering results, right? There's a reason for that psychologically. About 4 weeks is what it takes for someone to be over it. So what we want to do is we want to kind of jump on that newness, that 4 weeks of motivational time where things sink in a lot more. You're excited to utilize them because we really don't have that much more than 4 weeks worth to go over, to be honest. But what it's going to be the way it's going to be is focused on hormonal, physical, and mental health, building off the concepts of creating our own strategy based on how our brains work, baby steps, accountability, and our schedules. So the format for how this will run, and it's going to be by application only, where it's not open to the whole group. We want there to be a little bit of extra accountability for this extra support that you're going to get and all the extra organization that the coaches and I are going to be doing on the back end. So I'll tell you guys, as we get closer to the beginning, probably next week on that Zoom, we'll tell you guys how to apply for this. But once you are in it, we're going to assign you to support groups. Probably won't be many people per group on WhatsApp. So it'll be international and domestic CCA and KGG clients. So Sundays are the actual Zoom. I'm going to run down the schedule for you guys. Wednesdays at night, we'll have a WhatsApp group discussion in the group chat, and you'll be given a reflection question for the week. Fridays, you just, you have until Friday. So you can do it right then, you can do it after, but up until Friday, you have to turn in, your response to that reflection question in the group chat. And then you'll get a helpful hack and an entry into a pretty sick giveaway. I don't know if you guys saw the things we gave away after the last challenge, but I really loved the way that went. So we're going to be doing it again right out the gate. So Sunday Zoom, Wednesday discussion. You have until Friday to answer the reflection question we had in there. And when you do that, you get a hack and an entry into a giveaway. So that will be again from July 1st to July 31st. So if anybody wants more information on that, has any questions, feel free, shoot your coach text, and then I will give you guys more details on that next week. All right. So I hope that I was able to describe this enough as much as I wanted to be able to today. I am a little bit out of it. But I'm going to create the template and then pop it on the comments to this recording once it's posted. And you guys let me know if it's working for you, if it's not working for you, if you have any feedback at all. This is something new we're going to be implementing and how we're, running this program. So we'll be talking about it on the calls with you. But there'll be some things we work out as we get it nice and streamlined. If you have any feedback at all about how it goes, don't hesitate to let me or the coaches know. All right. So enjoy the rest of your Monday and the rest of your weeks. I hope that it's fabulous. And if you need anything, we're here for you. So happy shopping, happy cooking. Bye.